Hey plebs, welcome to the respawn point. Respawn Mondays is a show all about some of our favorite games, including PUBG, Battlefront, Overwatch, and Ark. With a changing list as we continue to pick up and drop different games, we are just your average gamers trying to get through the work week with some sweet relaxation playing time. So before respawning back into the week, take a breather and let's catch you up. It's pretty good. Did another 10-hour workday, so that was fun. Yep. And then also woke up to some snow, and so that was fun having to clean off my car and the ice and everything. So I was probably like 5 to 10 minutes late, probably just because of that. But it was fine. I wasn't really late. Yeah. So but yeah, normal work day. It gets dark really early now though, so that stinks. But what about you? Hmm. How'd that go? Great. All right. Well, you guys have a similar play style. That's cool. Um. Okay. So yeah, you already mentioned PUBG. What else have we you been playing? Yep. Yeah. Here's pretty it's pretty powerful. I was talking to a friend recently. He said I don't know if he like already unlocked it or what, but he said that it can like one hit even in like the chest. But I mean, I would imagine it would depend on the class because like the specialist only has like 100 health, so maybe other specialists it would, which would be really awesome. Yeah, yeah. I feel like the first, like with all the classes, the first like the default weapon or like all of them, they kind of like stink. Like I mean, they're okay, but I think like that's kind of like the point. Like they're just the default ones. Um, but yeah, I noticed like as soon as I unlocked like the second one, I felt like I maybe just because you can work towards the mods in that weapon, and then you feel better about it, and you're not constant every match. You're not constantly changing. You always have the same one.
Hmm.
Even though they're supposed to all have the same stats and everything, it's just they are different. They feel different. They sound different. So I think that kind of just throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it does definitely.
So, but yeah, yes. Also for me. Oh, okay. So you have one last thing.
Oh, and yeah, I've been playing a little CS:GO lately. Just, I mean, I haven't gotten back into competitive too much, but with this update, I wanted to check out how some of the queues worked and whatnot, and two, it's just like there's aim practice maps and stuff that I can do that I feel might help me a little bit in PUBG. Obviously, the shooting. Of course, we're going to talk about some of the changes this week. Um, the shooting's different, but sort of gets you back into like reaction mode, and um,
Yeah.
it's a good way to warm up. That I like. I've been playing a bunch of arm race, so
Yeah, yeah. I watched you a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That'd be a cool mode for like PUBG.
Oh yeah, would definitely be.
Like just yeah. It was like I'm excited. I never played, but it was a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had the similar type games in Call of Duty, like I think Golden Gun game, or I
Yeah, it
think they
sounds
had something like
familiar.
that. So yeah, it's been done before, but I really like it.
Yeah, that was cool. Um, yeah. So for me, I played some PUBG between we switched back and forth between Battlefront and PUBG Friday and Saturday,
Hmm.
which was fun. Um, yeah, I showed up first, so me, you, and Ethan played a little bit of PUBG before everyone got there.
Yep.
And normal we had so we stayed up the latest, and we had a couple close games, but like at that point you're like so tired. It was
Yeah.
like I feel like if we weren't tired, like we probably could have won.
Mm, I get
I
that.
mean, who knows? But between all the caffeine from like Monster and Red Bull and stuff, and being extremely
All
tired,
the sugar, just like
yeah,
I mean, you just have the jitters basically. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, it was fun though. We had a couple of good games, and then of course Battlefront. Um, so I'll just transition that into the discussion of the week. First, we're just gonna give our final Battlefront 2 impressions before we talk mostly about PUBG because there was a big test server update, as most people probably know, and we want to do Battlefront last week because it was brand new. So yeah, that's why we're doing PUBG this week. Um, yeah, so the final impressions were I liked it a lot more probably than I did the first 10 hours.
hmm
The star cards, like I started, I unlocked like say like Luke and Palpatine. So that was like
yeah.
a lot of that was a lot of credits right there. But then I started, unlocking some loot crates, and it's not the best system.
hmm
But I do like it a lot. I like it more. Like there is a fun aspect to it. I don't think it really works as far as a way to progress, but it can be a little fun just opening a box and seeing what you get. And I guess more so the star cards themselves are cool. Like I have a bunch of crafting parts, so I just went through and it only costs like 40 crafting parts to craft like the level 1 version. So like if you want to say change your the shotgun to I figured out that the shotgun has a different version of it where it's more accurate and more it basically puts like a choke on it,
Oh,
like
okay.
not actually, but that's essentially what it does. And so there's a crosshair instead of just like a circle. And so if you get like a headshot like pretty far away, you'll get the kill.
Oh,
So
wow.
it completely changes how that ability in the shotgun works. So I was just going through all the star cards, and there was different things like that I thought were actually like pretty cool.
hmm
Um, and then even like we switch back and forth between the Galactic Assault and like Heroes versus Villains a lot. And then you really get into Heroes versus Villains, you're like, oh, this is really fun. And then you're like, oh man, now I have to save up for like some hero crates to get more cards for heroes, or maybe I want to save up more credits to unlock a hero.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot to unlock. So it's still hopefully they still implement a different system, but I definitely had a lot more fun with it the more I played. And just the gameplay itself, I really enjoyed the gameplay. Like I think about playing just for the gameplay itself.
hmm Yep. Now, so with star cards, one thing I saw you guys opening some crates, and I had saved up my credits to buy Palpatine and Vader. I haven't bought a light side hero yet, but I mean, either way, Han Solo seems really strong, so I'm probably just gonna stick with him for a while.
He is, yeah.
Um, but other than that, like, is there any purpose to like using crafting parts to like make star cards or unlock star cards? Because it seems like some of the cards you were getting out of crates are just so much better, and you'd be able to do it so much faster than.
It's very possible. I think the purpose there's definitely at least two purposes for crafting parts. The first purpose is you can kind of go and pick and choose what card you want instead of waiting to unlock it randomly.
Yep.
So say like for me, I found I really like the assault class the best, and I use it 90% of the time. So I went through and I locked. I don't know, maybe I did like one or two or just one
Mhm.
because it was the shotgun one because it sounded really good and I tried it and I like it a lot. So you can kind of, instead of waiting to get it through a crate, you can kind of go through and pick which one you want. And then the second purpose is that you can't. They changed it so where you can't get a purple or the highest level card through crates.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you need to, in order to get a star card to the highest level, you need to do it with crafting parts, and it's like a lot actually. It's like 480 or something.
Oh, to unlock the last level of star card.
Yeah, for just one card, and like the only way to get crafting parts is either by doing challenges or by crates.
Yeah.
So it's if it definitely is a lot slower to get crafting parts, especially once you do a lot of challenges. Because once the challenges are over, you're only going to get it in crates.
Yeah.
So
So you have to.
it's definitely more of a grind to get a level 4 card. Because, and I'm actually now, especially now that they removed the pay to win, I'm actually like, they should re-implement the epic tiers back into the crates. because because before people were mad because people could pay to win and you could get the highest level, but now it's like you don't have that chance of getting like the highest card. You know what I mean? Like there's no, it almost feels like limited. Like the loot crates themselves, like they're a bad system, and now you don't even feel like you can get a really good card. It's kind of just like, I get blat every time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I could see that. I think. I mean, I like the idea of getting crafting parts and being able to level up your star cards. Maybe they should reduce the price on the final unlock, but I just wish there was another way, more ways to get crafting parts. Like
Yeah, yeah, I
they
agree.
could do daily challenges. They could like get 5 headshot kills or
I think they're going to. I think that starts with the Last Jedi season, which we kind of talked about last show.
okay.
And so yeah, right now I don't think there is daily challenges, but there will be.
Okay, I
There will
think
be there will be like daily and weekly challenges.
well that'll make a lot of sense and that'll change things for sure.
Yeah, because like you get like a daily login crate, but it's only like 5 crafting parts.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like nothing.
pretty much.
So yeah, so I don't know. Like yeah, I actually just thought about it right now though that the reason they got rid of the epic cards and crates was so people wouldn't call it pay to win. But now that the microtransactions are gone, temporarily at least, it's kind of like they should re-implement that. I think.
Yeah.
So I just thought about that right now, but because otherwise, yeah, it's I don't know. It's a big reason why I don't like the loot crates is that I never feel like I don't find it fun. Like in Overwatch, for example, you can unlock a box and then you open it and you have a chance to get like you when you see the gold, like we've talked about this, like the animations aren't that good. And now that the
Yeah.
fact that it's like having Overwatch and you can't get legendary. Obviously, there's skins, I know, but you
Yeah.
can't get legendary from boxes. You can only get them by spending your gold.
Mhm.
It kind of takes away like that excitement when you finally do get a legendary in a crate. So yeah, and then yeah, so I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's really anything you're getting other than a cheap, I don't know, just cheap crap.
Hmm.
And sometimes you don't even care about it. The trooper crates are like 4,000 credits, which once you get past like the early levels, like I think I'm like level 17 or something.
Mhm.
It's like you don't get that many credits anymore. You only get the credits from playing matches,
From
like
playing
a lot,
matches, yeah.
because like a lot of the easy challenges are done, and then you also don't level up as fast to get the credit boost.
Mhm.
So you spend 4,000 on a crate, and then you get either a bunch of random stuff or they're all just white, and you're like, like cool, but that doesn't really help me.
Mhm.
I still want them to change it, and I hope they do, where your class level is based on the time spent on the class rather than the cards you have for it. It doesn't make any sense. Like I've spent 90% of my time in the assault class, and it's like I don't even know what level it is, but it doesn't matter because my other classes are probably higher than it just because of chance.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like it should be a better progression system similar to what the weapons are. Like okay, you get 50, 200, 500 kills for the weapon,
Yep.
and the way the way they should do it, or one way they could do it, I think, is you have a class level that maybe just it goes up the more you spend time in that class, similar to your overall level. Like I think I've given an iteration like this before, but I'm just thinking for progression purposes, you level up your class the more you play it, right? So
Yeah.
say once you get to level 10 or whatever, depending on how hard it is to level up, you then unlock this star card. And then when you get to level 20, you unlock this star card. And then maybe to upgrade your cards more, you still have crafting parts or credits. You can spend your credits for crafting. You spend one of those to upgrade them further. But the more you play the class, the more unlocks you get. That
Yeah.
way, you feel like a sense of purpose into progressing in that one class, because then you can get not only the better weapons, but you can also get the better star cards. It would
Yeah.
just that would be a much better system than just loot crates.
Makes sense. Yeah, I like that idea.
So, but I don't know. Like they've said that that they're looking into stuff like this because people have complained that class levels should be based on time played. But at this point, so many people are going to have stuff unlocked. Like, how are they really going to change the progression system to something else at this point? I don't know if they can, which really sucks. Like, I don't want to go into it too much because it is what it is. But like, how they built this game around the system when they knew it was like a really crappy system.
Yeah.
It just they spent so much time, like working around this system, and it's just and now because of how mad people have gotten and how much bad PR they've gotten, they had to pull it at least for now until maybe cosmetics come into play. That the game kind of feels like broken in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not like reasons to progress, really. Uh I don't know. I think that they will. I think that they'll probably change the progression system, like, and just come
Yeah,
out with, okay, loot crates are just cosmetics now, or emotes, or whatever. Um, I think that'd be the smartest thing to do, even though it would be probably the most amount of work. Um, but just
yeah,
if they want to come back from the PR nightmare that they developed for themselves.
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I've thought about this a lot too. I'd probably even talk to you about it. Like, there is so much customization that they could have added in a loot crate system that would have worked. There's
Yeah.
even I forgot like how much there are so many skins that they've teased for heroes already, like in trailers and stuff that didn't make it into the game yet, and they're coming. We know they're coming, but
Yeah.
they obviously maybe I don't know because like I said, like they built the game around this loot crate system, so they knew that's what they were gonna do. But they should have just built it around a cosmetic system,
Mhm.
and it would have been so much better. And it sucks to hear that maybe that sales aren't that good for the game and that people still aren't buying it when the game is like, in my opinion, like 10 times better than the first one. There's so much more to do. There's so many better maps. You have all three eras. Like, this game is so much better gameplay wise, but the progression system, the first game's progression system was way better, and it wasn't that like in depth or anything, but it made sense in the last game. And this one, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks to hear about, but it's still fun. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
play
I
it at
mean, we
least.
had a lot of fun. I think the modes, the maps, all that stuff works well. Um, Something we were talking about is, yeah, it's annoying that you have to play 22 matches to get through all the maps to play on all the different maps. But, so maybe there's something to be done there where you could select a map, or, for arcade play or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah.
but I mean, overall, game's a ton of fun.
Right. I mean, there's some weird lobby. Like, the way they do the lobbies is weird. Like,
Yeah.
once you're done with a map, it like kind of creates a brand new lobby for the next map instead of just moving that lobby onto it, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I know a lot of people have been complaining that like they still haven't played this map, which is not something that like is a huge complaint. I think people are just kind of like, like, is there something wrong? Like, why am I keep on playing this? And this happened to us. Like, we played Kashyyyk like 3 or 4 times in a
So
row.
many times, yeah.
Like, once we quit and rejoin, like, because the rotation still works the way it should. It still moves you forward.
Mhm.
But we would quit to like open loot crates or something and go back in, and we would go right back to Kashyyyk. And so that map kind of gets stale once you play it like 4 times in a row, twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the best thing they should do is, because people, I don't think people really care what side they're playing on a certain map. Like, I don't care. Like, I care more about the map than okay, I'm on the rebel side on this map. Like that sucks. Like
Well,
I could care
I don't want
less.
to, I'm not too concerned about the faction, but I do like the balance between attacking and defending. Like I think it's good to go back and forth in that. Um, so I get why like you have to play the map twice, or at least that's the way I get why it's set up like that. Um, they could change that for sure. I would still want to attack and defend. Like I'd want to do both, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so okay, so for the last game when it first launched, it was the map would change after every round, and
Okay.
eventually, but you have to keep in mind there's only 4 maps for Walker Assault, and so you would go through the playlist really quickly because there's only 4 maps, and
Yeah.
so after a little bit of time and people said whatever, they changed it to where you play them each twice, and that way it just made it kind of made it made more sense. You get to either you get to attack and defend with the walkers on this map, but it also made the playlist or the map rotation last a lot longer. Whereas in this game, there's 11 maps. I think it may stink not being able to attack and defend like you brought out
Mhm.
because it makes it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, because there's so many maps, I think it may just benefit the game only doing each one once. I mean, especially once more maps come. I mean, there's already 11. There's going to be 12, 13, 14, however many they make.
Yeah, I mean, they could even change it to where you can just pick. You know, you get into lobby and you pick whether you're attacking or defending. Um,
Hmm.
and then play each map once. They could do something like that.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that. Just because, no, it's definitely like because even like in the original Battlefronts, you got to pick your faction,
Hmm.
and they could do it where even maybe the first, the 20 people first to, or whoever fills up that side first, they could do it. I just don't see them doing it.
Yeah, yeah, like you wouldn't want to let unlimited amounts of people attack. You would want, you know, you would want
No, no, no,
there to
yeah,
be
right,
slots to fill, and then once
right.
that is full, you can't. Um,
Honestly, I could see it working because I don't think any one person is gonna be like, oh, like attacking on this map is always the best. Like I think it's kind of just. I think more, especially because
there's
Star Wars, people would care more about the fact like, okay, I don't want to be the rebels. I want to be the Imperials.
Yeah, in casual game modes, for CS:GO, because in CS:GO they have a similar mechanic for that, like you pick terrorist or counter-terrorist. In casual modes, in competitive, you're just assigned. Um, but in casual modes, it's never really lopsided or anything. People don't really care, you know. They'll get to play
Yeah,
both eventually.
yeah, yep. Um, but yeah, so maybe they could look into doing that and changing it. But I mean, who knows? Either way, it's good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good maps. The gameplay is fun. I'm excited to just see what they change and what they do going forward. The Last Jedi season seems. I mean, another map, 2 more heroes. Hope there's going to be a December patch with that. I think Dennis said on a Battlefront update stream that the patch cycle for this game is going to be every 2 weeks. So it's a lot faster than the last game where it was maybe like once a month they tried to do it.
Hmm.
Sometimes it was over a month though because they didn't have it done or for whatever reason. So every 2 weeks sounds pretty good. I think overall though the balance is deep. It's like a lot better than the last game. Because the last game had like a lot of more glaring issues. This one seems pretty. Like there's some issues here and there, but overall like I think it's way more tight than the last game.
Hmm.
So
Cool.
yeah, but overall, Battlefront 2 is good. Honestly, if you like Star Wars and you like a casual shooter, I think you should pick it up. I mean, there's no microtransactions right now, so you don't have to worry about people playing to win or
Yeah.
paying to win. I mean, so I don't know. I think the hate is deserved, but at the same time, the game deserves to be played.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like a Dice and EA thing. Like Dice did a good job, but EA just sucks.
Mhm.
So what are you gonna do?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the PUBG test server update that we got last. I think it was Monday, which was when we did the show that day too. Um, so the test server, obviously, it's not up anymore, but it was from Monday to Wednesday, and the second cycle should be announced this week. Doesn't mean it will be this week, but they did say that I think they tweeted out thanking everyone for playing on it and giving feedback, and that they'll give an update this week. So we'll be looking out for that. But there's a bunch of stuff that we're gonna go over because there's a lot in it, and there's also a lot that the patch notes didn't, or the update that they put out didn't include. So we're gonna kind of go over like a bunch of different changes, things to look forward to, and possibly new things to come for the full release, or maybe even beyond that. So Elias, you want to start us off here?
Yeah, sure. So, just some things that were on part of the update was vaulting got included. Vaulting now breaks windows when you're going through them, and it says no more crouch jumping. That means like you're not able to do it at all. Like they've
Yeah.
disabled it. Okay.
Yeah, there's like you can't crouch jump onto like a door anymore or
Oh,
something.
okay. All right.
So everything is through the vault mechanic now.
Yeah, and this is something we've seen on Twitter and whatnot. People posting clips of you're able to vault through pretty much every smaller window,
Yeah.
the little squares, the slots. So you probably can't do that if there's grates on them, correct?
Yeah, no, the bars prohibit
The
vaulting
bars
through them.
prohibits vaulting. Okay.
But like
Um.
yeah, like you said, the small square ones, like the ones in the bathrooms,
Mhm.
like you can go through those. You can like crawl through them basically.
I mean, something they could probably do to prevent that is just put grates on the small windows if they don't think that window
I mean,
should be.
obviously they animated it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
so, but yeah, no, like you said, maybe if it's a problem or they don't think that's like balanced, they could easily
Yeah,
either remove
there's
it or put bars.
there's ways to balance around it. Like especially maybe there's a spot where circle seems to go a lot. Maybe a very popular spot. A lot of fights go down. Maybe they'll look at the layout of that village or whatever and say maybe let's close up these windows or something. That's definitely balanceable.
Yeah, but so like more ones that make more sense, like the more narrow, taller ones,
Mhm.
which your body could definitely fit through.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are vaultable. So it's definitely, I know people have. I think overall, like obviously people wanted vaulting. Vaulting is awesome, but as far as going through windows, I know like Shroud said he's not crazy about it because now everyone will be able to go through windows, whereas before, not everyone did. It was a skill that you had to learn,
Mhm.
and if no one told you, like I didn't know for the longest time that you could.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I
so
mean, plus I think like you're saying there, like some people don't know they can, and even after you can, you don't always think to do it. So I think there will still be skill-based play around it. Like, yeah, everybody can go through that window mechanically, but that still doesn't mean they're going to do it. Doesn't mean they're thinking
yeah,
that
well,
far
not to
ahead.
mention not to mention that the windows do break now, so
Hmm.
it kind of that kind of gives away your idea there as far as, oh, he went through a window.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, some of the like some plays that I'm like probably proudest of involve typically like jumping on a second story window and getting them from behind, like catching the person that was entering the house off guard.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the window breaking will probably throw that off a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe pre-firing windows would be more important at that point,
Yep. And so
especially if like, okay, like people could definitely um try to, I can't think of the word, but like raid you or whatever, raid your house.
yep, if you know
Um,
someone's in the area or you hear a vehicle approaching or something.
yeah, exactly. That way, if you want that, to get the jump on them, you could have that forethought.
Yep, yep. Good reason to. I mean, just what I do anyway. I mean, part of it's just the looter in me that I need to fill every slot that I have. But picking up a silenced pistol, like even if typically you can find a handgun silencer,
That's true.
so it'd be a way to use ammo you don't care about to break when usually I used to pick it up. I used to justify it by saying like, well, if I want to shoot out a tire, Like that's what I'll use. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but so similar use case there, I guess.
Yep.
Um, so
So
also, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you can do it.
All right. So also we have no more clothing spawns around the map, which I think that's great. It's gonna clear up. It's gonna make looting even easier. Running through a house, not trying to figure out if those are gloves or a 4 times scope. Or just sometimes clothes are on top of magazines or other things that you actually need. So I think, and plus it's going to improve performance, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because they don't have to load it to. I mean, because obviously when you first land, that's usually the biggest problem, loading in that first time. So it'll help
Mhm.
with that. But I think overall, like when you go into a new area or whatever, it doesn't have to load any of the clothes, like which was all over the map. So
Mhm.
it kind of makes sense. Everything will be a lot cleaner, and so yeah, it definitely it'll increase the optimi- I think it's part of optimization performance. It'll probably definitely help there.
Yeah, I mean, so we have a note here that says in general people should get an increase in FPS. That's
Yeah.
noticeable. Um, so that has to do with the clothing spawn specifically, or is that just
I don't think specifically, but I think that probably helps.
okay?
Like, because you're talking about like a lot of random loot that just doesn't have to load in buildings anymore.
Yeah, items that are basically
Yeah.
useless.
So yeah, there's definitely an increase in FPS. Obviously, that kind of depends on what you're running. But it is noticeable. But it's not like a world of difference. But
Okay.
yeah, you'll definitely see probably a little jump in your FPS.
All right. Um, so we have a uh, what's the word?
So this is the ballistic overhaul. Yep.
Ballistic overhaul, yeah. Um, and it consists of multiple elements. The first one, the biggest one, is the addition of a bullet drag effect that affects the trajectory curve of a projectile. So what's happening is the bullet is actually being subjected to, or well, it's not really. I mean, the game is telling it that it is. I don't know if they actually have like a, because I think they do
Like
have
like
gravity in game, but I don't know if they have like basically air resistance. Like I don't know if that's a
right.
factor going on all the time. But basically the bullet loses velocity over time. So similar to what happens in real life, this is going to make, the game even seem more realistic. But as a result, the gravity's still acting on the projectile um, at the same distance before where the bullet um, would sort of sail longer, the bullet drop will be bigger.
Yeah. So
Specific.
like
Go ahead. Yeah.
no, so like if you're shooting at say 400 meters and like say you don't use zeroing distance, right? But you know kind of where 400 meters is and you know how high you should go.
Mhm.
Now it's gonna the drop will be bigger, noticeably over the range of 300. It says so up to 300, it should be similar to what it is now, but past that, it'll become increasingly obvious that the bullet drop is a lot more.
I wonder what the VSS is going to be like after this.
Oh
Like
boy.
basically unusable.
I actually really like the VSS too,
Yeah,
and I think it's because it does shoot so slow, and you can easily see where your bullet's going.
that's true. I mean, there's a use factor there that you actually have a visual indication of what's going on.
Right.
Whereas with
Whereas
a
like
lot of other guns, it's hard to tell. Did
it's
I?
hard to tell.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you're right though. It'll probably be even crazier.
yeah. So the second thing they did is they tweaked the MOA, which I don't know exactly what that stands for, but basically accuracy of the weapons, basing the numbers on their in real life counterparts. So I guess it's a pretty interesting thing. Um, I'm guessing they're just I don't know if they're doing testing for like an AK and a M4 or M16,
Right.
or they're just like pulling from a database. But supposedly these are going to be more true to life. And says while some weapons may experience slight accuracy nerfs, others will become more accurate than before. With a note here that Shroud said that it's a little less random than before.
Yeah, he was
Um,
he was when he said this, he was testing out the AK, and there's still obviously I couldn't exactly tell the difference between if there was more recoil or not, but it did seem like it was less all over the place. Maybe like it seemed like you said it seemed less random.
Mm.
So that was just for that particular weapon. Um, so, but yeah, I think it's further down. But I think when it says others will become more accurate than before, I think it's notably the SMGs. Whereas
Okay, yeah.
like the damage isn't as good than ARs. Whereas it'll be like as accurate as ARs though. It'll be closer.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a little crazy. I mean, it's a little crazy because Shroud, he'll pick up a micro Uzi and just headshot someone from like 200 meters. Um, but it makes sense because sometimes you'll be, especially in close quarters with, especially the micro Uzi, you're running around and you dump a full mag into someone and they're still alive, and you're like, what just happened? And it's
Yeah.
because half your bullets were on the other side of the room or something. So that'll be interesting. Um, So it says next note is to accommodate the new ballistics, they've changed the way zeroing works. And this is something I was reading this earlier, and it's gonna throw off my playstyle a little bit. They've changed the way zeroing works slightly to be more realistic. As a result, each weapon will have a unique set of zeroing ranges while using the iron sights. Red dot and holographic sights will allow for zeroing in on short ranges. You will also be able to adjust the intensity of the reticle. So by default using the mouse wheel, which is what throws me off because I already used the mouse wheel for zeroing
Yeah.
distance. So I don't know if they'll be able to go together or I'm just going to have to come up with different way.
I would I would imagine you could because you can probably set two secondaries the same, right?
Two secondaries the same.
Like the second, because like say like it's still page up, page down, but your secondary is your mouse wheel. I wouldn't. I think in PUBG they
Hmm.
do allow you to do the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in actually, the mouse wheel already does two things for me because I zoom in and out on the map, and that will change my zeroing distance at the same
Right.
time.
Right.
So, I don't know. Maybe now my mouse wheel's going to do three things. Otherwise, thinking about it now, though, I could probably do something like Control 1 and 2 to increase and decrease. Like I
Hmm,
could set like a keybind like that, maybe
yeah.
for zeroing distance. But
I'll probably honestly I haven't used zero in distance in a long time. But it's saying that each the red dot and holographic will have zeroing for shorter ranges. So, I mean, I don't know, like, because I know it's a big thing where some people like to use zeroing distance, other people like to just compensate on their
mm,
crosshair. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to obviously test it, but yeah, say because usually ARs on any site, the shortest is 100 meters, whereas now it kind of sounds like you'll probably do shorter than that, so it'll be a little bit more accurate when you're up close, maybe.
that's cool. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know what the obviously when it comes out and everything will I think overall like there's going to be a lot of changes with the weapons that you'll have to get used to how they feel and everything.
Mhm.
So I think that'll be part of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it says the four times tip of the chevron is zeroed in on respectively 50 and 100 meters, um, for submachine guns and other weapons. Um, hmm. So is that saying that like 50 meters on submachine guns and 100 meters on other weapons, or just it'll be accurate for both 50 and
And
100
that's
basically?
that's what it sounds like 'cause it says respectively. So
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird wording there, but that's what I take from it. So it's 50 for machine guns and then 100 for other weapons, which kind of makes sense.
I mean, I guess that's neat. I don't really use a 4x on anything. Well, you can't put sights on a micro Uzi or a um Tommy gun. So this would
Right.
be for the Vector and
Ump. Yep.
which I don't really put four times on there, but I guess if it's all you have,
If it's all you have, I guess. Yeah.
that's cool. No.
Yeah.
Plus with them being more accurate, maybe we'll see a little bit more long range play, or maybe the Vector is going to get a bit of a buff here. Um, like just with you know distance accuracy or something.
Hmm.
Um, But it says bigger scopes will additionally allow you to change the zoom level by default using the mouse wheel.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's along with the for red dot and holographic sights, you'll use the mouse wheel to adjust the intensity of the reticle. So say like it's a really dark, like say it's like a fog map. Maybe you want to increase it so it's brighter,
hmm
or maybe if they're farther away. But if you're up close, you don't want it that. Maybe it's a little intrusive to your what you're looking at. So you can kind of change that to however you like, which is actually really cool. But then so for 4 times, 8 times, and 15 times, using the mouse wheel will zoom in and out. So this wasn't in the test server. I think they had a note in the update that the 4 times was disabled for this cycle. It'll be in the next cycle. But so what it does is when you zoom in, it's zoomed in all the way like normal, but you have the ability to then zoom out. So especially for the 8 times, I think this is useful because you don't always want to be looking, that far. So it's funny, a lot of these things are realistic, but then you have something like this that's a little bit not, but it's very helpful.
Yeah. Well, on some, I mean, on some optics, you should be able to zoom in and out. It's just typically not that easy. Like it takes a lot of time.
Right.
But yeah, like you're saying, that's very useful. 'Cause sometimes if you only have one weapon and I mean, it has happened where you only find it 8 times and you're like, oh, that's great. But at the same time, you can't take any. You have to hip fire in any close
Yeah.
quarter situation.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I think I wish they would change is that it doesn't. So say like you aim down sights with an 8 times and then you zoom out. If you go back to just running or whatever and zoom again, it will reset to the furthest. You'll be at the default zoom in level.
Okay.
Where I mean, maybe that's a good thing because maybe say you forget, but at the same time, like if you're in a more close quarter setting and you want it zoomed out all the way on purpose, you kind of have to do that every time, which I think would be really annoying.
I could see it. I think I would want it to stay where you had it set. Like zoom, if it's zoomed out, it stays zoomed out, just like zeroing distance stays
Right,
the
right,
same.
exactly.
Because not only sometimes you don't want to have to do that every time if you unscope and rescope, but it's a gameplay mechanic that you have to remember where what you had it set to.
Yeah, it's kind of just like firing mode.
Yeah. Yep. Same
So
thing.
I mean, it doesn't just automatically switch back to same thing with zeroing, like all that stuff. It doesn't just automatically switch back to what it was before. So I mean, obviously this is just the first patch cycle. Maybe that's even in the second cycle or however. Maybe they'll change that if they get feedback. So yeah, we'll see. Either way, I think it's a really cool addition
Mm.
to those scopes.
Okay, so yeah, with the new system, bullet system, the problematic neck area will be protected by the helmet. Shooting hands and feet is now also less effective than it was before. And on top of regular bonuses and penalties to the hit areas, the damage will also be modified by weapon class now. Well, I think that was already happening, correct?
Yeah. So before, um, so for like limbs, for example, say it was like outside the chest area, there was a 50% damage penalty to your shots. Whereas now it's more variable, where the further out it is, the less damage it does. But then the closer to the chest it is, the more damage it does.
Okay. All right.
So there's actually, if you go to the update, they have actually kind of like a, actually, you know what, we have it down further a little bit in the,
Okay.
so we can talk about it because there's kind of like a system of multipliers that they do in order.
Mhm.
And then, so I think what's saying here is that the last modifier is what weapon the weapon class you're using.
Okay. Do you want to go through that summary of changes there?
Yeah, sure. So okay, so just to summarize kind of what everything we talked about, and in case we kind of missed anything, this is pulled directly from the update. So, and this is like the first thing actually we didn't talk about. So the projectiles fired from firearms are now affected by air drag as well. So it kind of goes with the ballistics overhaul. So this
Mhm.
means that projectiles will now lose velocity over time, obviously. So the feedback I got for firearms was that overall, even though, because I think before, like firearms were like really accurate at long distances, which doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
So So again, now it's going to be affected by air drag, so it's going to be less accurate. It's going to have bullet drop. But I think overall, some of the changes that they didn't highlight for firearms is that they feel like a lot more. What's the right word? Like there's less recoil. Like they instead of feeling like you're just kind of shooting randomly, they feel better basically.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like Shroud saying, like, oh, it feels a little less random. Are we going to get like basically recoil patterns that we could learn? Like each weapon will have its own. I mean, already it is random, but they some weapons you feel like they act different than others. Like one's gonna kick weird at some point. Something like with the micro Uzi, like that's very unpredictable. But something like the Scar or the AK, I felt like okay, this it was typically pretty standard. Like I had a bit of a pull to the up and to the right. Um,
Right.
it would be interesting to see if at some point we'll get
Well,
recoil patterns.
they've said in the past in the I think it was the PUBG AMA with Brendan Green,
Hmm.
that they don't want to do that,
Yeah.
because they want to reward fast reaction times rather than someone learning how the patterns are.
Hmm.
So I mean, because he said that, I don't think they'll end up doing that, bearing some drastic change in his mindset for his game.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see them, changing it to where it doesn't feel as punishing.
Hmm.
So maybe it's less random, but there's still no direct pattern to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So, but as far as the firearms are concerned, that's good to hear because I got to the point where, like, I mean, I know like Doctor, like he won't even bother picking up a firearm because whenever I can't get I to me there's I got to the point where it didn't matter if I had one, I it just was kind of useless.
Yeah, like I had
So
picking up a 1911 or a
yeah, like you
yeah.
try to go for a weapon right away, but I just maybe just because my aim is awful with those things, but
Yeah,
so
they're not great. I mean,
no,
like
no, they're not.
especially the 1911 and the well, all of them really. I d- yeah, they're hard to shoot. Like
Yeah,
you can't just spray them at all. Like you have to line up shots and everything,
mm, yeah.
or just go for chest shots. But yeah.
So um, so we talked about large scopes now have a variable zoom, red dot and hollow, and two. That's the one we didn't mention. Two times sights two have the reticle brightness adjusted, and then so we talked about hit areas have been modified, so the neck is now protected by the helmet, like we mentioned. Damage to the chest area is increased. Obviously, the closer to the chest. The damage penalty for a headshot, so that includes the neck now, is
Hmm.
25%. So obviously, I don't know exactly how that works with the armor level because obviously level 3 helmet protects more. But
Hmm.
in the update, they just said there's a damage penalty to it.
Okay.
So, but regardless, the neck is now protected too. Whereas I think before it must have just been considered. I don't know. Was it maybe considered neck or? I mean, neck. Yeah, no. Was it? I don't know if it was considered the neck was considered as part of the chest as well, or if it was considered part of the head, but it wasn't protected ever.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure because I mean they do say the problematic neck area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so maybe it was.
Maybe it was a big issue, like it not being protected.
Right.
Hmm.
So, but now it is. So now you're a little bit more safe with a helmet. Um, okay, and then we have so the base damage is now modified by weapon class, and so the actual damage is now taking into account following multipliers, like we mentioned. So we have the base damage stat of the weapon. Obviously, the bullet type goes into that. You have the 9 millimeter for like the and everything, and then up to the AK with the 7.62 is most powerful. So you have that. And then you have damage. Distance traveled by the projectile. So now damage decreases over a distance, which it did before. However, with armor, it didn't. So I would imagine this is saying that even with armor on, the farther away the shot is, the less damage it does, which is interesting. But I think I mean, if that's the case overall, I think it's good because it really sucks, like getting hit far away and dying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it kind of stinks. Like if you have like a sniper and you get like a really far shot, like you want a headshot to
Yeah.
to
You
kill.
want it to kill, yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. We'll see how that works. Um, and so the next on the list is a hit area damage multiplier. So that means obviously how close to the chest it is, and then the last one is the weapon class modifier.
Okay.
So a bunch of different things now taking into account. But until we actually play it, it'll be interesting. It's kind of hard to imagine how different at all it is.
Hmm.
So I do know that like
And it being on the test server, it's going to be subject to change anyway. Like it's
this
not a
this is
guaranteed thing that it gets into 1.0 actually.
yeah, very true. Especially because this is the first cycle, so who knows what the second cycle will bring as far as if there'll be more changes or if it'll just be adjusted changes.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think I watched a video and the guy said he was talking about how after playing the test server though, he says he finds it hard to see himself going back to the live version.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, I'm good I didn't play it then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I think overall, like all the changes, we have some more here, but overall the changes so far seem like everything combined, like everything how it plays and everything just seems like it's a much needed update because they haven't made any updates in a long time because they've been doing everything for the official launch.
Hmm.
So hopefully it comes sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you want to just go into some of these other changes?
Yeah. So were these on test server or we these in
These were in no patch notes. These were all miscellaneous things that people found by playing.
Oh, okay. So, SKS bullet speed has been increased, possibly or probably to go along with overall weapon balance. Maybe they noticed that the whatever the bullet drop effect and velocity speed thing
Yeah,
was.
I think too was that a lot of people found that's why the mini was really popular because the bullet speed was a lot faster than SKS, and so
Hmm.
now to kind of I think give it the and probably obviously like you said the bullet drop and everything.
Yeah, it was probably getting nerfed a little too hard with along with all those other changes.
Yeah,
Um, it will be neat to see. I mean, I almost never seem to find an SKS, but I do like it. Like it is good. It's a good weapon. Um, with the smoke grenade has been changed. It doesn't spray randomly. It acts more like a real smoke. Um, it creeps its way out and then gets pretty thick. Um, there's a new dense forest area near mansion. Many new tree models. Well, that's neat. Stumps, rocks, etc. Could possibly be a proof of concept in the test build. Do you think they'll probably spread out those other models across the map? I would think.
I would imagine
Yeah.
like maybe I don't know. It's not to say if that would make it for official launch. Hopefully,
Mhm.
because they look really good. I guess there was an update to the engine in general, and so this kind of goes along with it.
Okay.
But the models for the trees look like so much more detailed and like there's more variety. Um, so I'm hoping too that the forest it stays near Mansion. I would imagine it would, but it is very dense. So we'll see. Maybe if they make it less dense, because like, maybe right now they just have a bunch of stuff piled in there for different models.
Mhm.
Um, but right now, I'm really liking that fact because that whole area around Shelter and Mansion is so like open. It's really hard to land there and then leave.
Hmm.
So I think I like it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's like even like a tree that was maybe like fell. Like you couldn't see the fallen tree, but it was more like a stump, than like a full tree. There's different rock models. It looked really good, and yeah, hopefully they bring it to the whole island.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Um. So we also have guns are now more visible on your screen. And you noted here possibility for weapon skins. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So like, I know a lot of people who played it were like, why? Because a lot of people found it kind of like annoying, especially because it's such a change from live.
Hmm.
Because you can just see so much more of like the model, and it kind of doesn't make sense for them to do that unless weapon skins are coming. It's just like a rumor kind of, although there was files data mine that had inklings of like a weapon skin, like say like I forget exactly, but like the file name was like base skin weapon one or something.
Okay.
So it seems like that's the direction they're going, especially with their crates and the fact that the weapon model is so much more visible.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like maybe you're gonna get a different skin on that gun based on the weather or theme of the map potentially. Like maybe if we're gonna have AKs on the desert map, maybe they're gonna look different. It could be different. It could be a different AK but function the same. Like maybe it's an AK-74 instead of a 47 or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
they could do stuff like that. Not that I would be against weapon skins. They're not shy about branding or like putting stuff in the game that looks weird. Like houses just have like ninjas in pajamas thing spray painted on them. Like yeah, they try to have it be realistic, but you know, I I wouldn't be surprised if at some point like they're gonna sell jerseys, for each character.
That'd be funny.
Um,
Well, so this is one of them, but sorry, I'll just say it now. But
yeah.
there's 41 new skins that were data mined, and so to go along with what you just said, there was like an EA and like some Xbox ones.
Oh,
So they weren't like ugly or like too like flashy or anything, but yeah, they kind of like what you said with jerseys, like they do have some like Xbox gear for obviously for the Xbox launch.
yeah. Also with in CS:GO, like just the thought of the weapon taking up more of the screen. Um, I mean, typically I would think that that's um, a bad thing because it's going to decrease if you're running around with your gun out. It's going to decrease your visibility of what's actually like maybe seeing somebody in a rut as you're running by, or you want as much visibility as you can have. In CS:GO, you're able to like there's a value for that you can change in the console for your own
Hmm.
client. So
So maybe that would be good to have like a weapon FOV or something.
yeah, like we already have a field of view slider, but yeah, you could do something like the weapon field of view slider or something.
Yeah, because like
Um,
maybe because right now like you only see a small part of it. So obviously maybe you still see part of that weapon skin, but yeah, maybe if you really like it, you want to just increase it a little bit or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
I would think that would kind of make everyone happy, like weapon skins are here so you can view them if you want. Other times if you're more hardcore and you don't like that, you can then change it.
Yeah, well, plus two. I mean, I'm not. I keep bringing up CS:GO, but it's just because of the most relatable thing to it.
Yeah.
Um, in CS:GO, most people do scale down how much room the weapon takes up. Like I don't have it all the way, but I have it like I think 3/4 of the way typically. Um, but there's a button to inspect your weapon. So like if you get like a fancy knife or whatever, a lot of times like if you win a game or if like you make a sick play, like you'll like look at your little knife because you did a good job or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Which
I get what you're saying.
so you don't have to like you're not necessarily looking at it in, during play, but it's a way to like show off.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where they go. Obviously, they want to update the crate system they have and continue that because that's their other avenue revenue source.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Um
but but in light of CS:GO, they also have a new kill feed option. You don't it's not set like you can go either the what it is now or this new one. It looks very much like CS:GO.
okay.
And so if you haven't played CS:GO, I think you saw it right, Elias.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't know what it looks like in CS:GO, is now in the top right corner, and instead of having the person's name and they kill this person with this weapon, it now shows what does it even have their names anymore?
On in PUBG.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's just like what like a person, and then it has like a little weapon in the middle, and then the other person.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't. Man, I forget. Stinking.
Hmm.
But yeah, no. So either way, it's. I think a lot of people like it more. It's more condensed. It's a little less.
You're not having to read, oh, he killed him by headshot with an AKM. Like it's not.
exactly.
You know, it's
And then
more
and then and then it shows too if like there's I think after the weapon if it's a headshot they'll show like a little like uh,
little skull.
shadow. No, I think it's like a shadow figure with like a little crosshair on the head.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So yeah, I think overall it's cleaner. It's an improved version of the kill feed.
Yeah.
Along with the new skins, there's also 3 parachute color skins.
Hmm.
So maybe there's more than 3, maybe it's just 3, but it seems they're kind of going what Fortnite is doing with the customization of parachutes, which I'm not against. I think I don't know people. I like aesthetics. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Skins are fun, for
Skins are
sure.
fun. So Battlefront needs to chill and have fun instead of having pay to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah. Um, as far as vehicles, this was in the update as well. But overall, all the weapon sounds and vehicle sounds and like even like the plane, the sounds have been reduced. And they're also different. So like the motorcycle now sounds like a crotch rocket, like super fast.
Hmm.
Uh, the buggy actually sounds like a buggy. It sounds like cool, like you're driving a buggy instead of the stupid thing. um, the only one I don't like that I've noticed is that the UAZ kind of sounds wimpy now.
Hmm.
Like before, it sounded, like you're driving this Jeep and it's powerful.
Yeah.
But overall, like all the vehicle sounds are less. And then the vehicles now have like a shifting sound. Like you don't shift, but they sound like they're shifting. So it's more like realistic,
Yeah.
which is nice. And then overall handling has been improved. The bikes are now really hard to crash, like unless you do like a flip on purpose. Like you're not gonna just hit this random thing into a terrain and like go
Hmm.
flying,
That's nice.
which is really nice.
Yeah.
And then also a side note, the UAZ doesn't have that fifth seat anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that on the dock here. That's why would they do that? I mean, are they going to reduce the seats in the boats as well, or are they trying
They
to
didn't
keep
they didn't
people
say
from
they
working
are.
together, or
I don't know. I mean, I know like some people would sneak into the fifth seat and kill people while they're driving.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know the thought behind that. They didn't really say much about it.
Hmm.
So, but yeah,
Okay.
no. I mean, like even like I wonder with the new Volkswagen van for the
Yeah.
desert map, like how many seats are going to be in there?
Yeah. Hmm.
Like you would think like I would think like 6, but I mean who
Yeah.
knows?
I mean, it could even be seven. Like,
uh,
almost no reason for that, but I don't know.
right. And then I didn't put it in the doc, but so the other things there's a new weapon. So there's a couple new models found. One was a brand new weapon. I
Okay.
forget what it was called, but it's like a LMG,
Oh. Hmm.
like the with
Another
the
one like
M.
the M 14 or no M249.
Yes, but yeah. So it is exactly like that. Some people are speculating that maybe it's like the 7.62 variation of it.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Um, so it's like a it's. I'm not gonna even try to explain what it looks like, but yeah. So new weapon coming, and then there's a model for a jet ski found that didn't look that good. It was like obviously unfinished. So, but there's a jet ski, and then there was like a Bronco looking truck, which I would imagine is like the UAZ equivalent on the desert map,
Okay.
which is kind of awesome. So there's 2 seats up front, and then I would imagine 2 people could go in the trunk, the bed of the truck.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. You gotta have like the truck to traverse all the rocky terrain on that map.
Yeah. Yeah.
So overall, it seems a lot of new fun stuff.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, so that's that's about it
Okay.
for the update itself. Um, there was like a thing about cheating they added in there because we know that the patch cycle was delayed or the test cycle was delayed because that they were doing things with cheating and
Yeah, they made a post about that. That like,
Yeah, it's obvious. I think overall it's not a problem for us because we're a lot lower rank, but for people near the top, especially like streamers, they're having like a lot of issues with stream snipers that are cheating. I
hmm
know Shroud the other day, like he was trying to stream, but every single game he would just die because people are cheating with like damage hacks or whatever or
hmm,
aimbot.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was like I watched like it was Shroud's YouTube channel, and they posted just kind of like a condensed version of his struggles, and it was like, yeah, that sucks. Like
Yeah.
people are crazy. So I can understand for them, like obviously them having to put as much work as they are into the anti cheat. And I think they are making progress. Obviously, it's still a big problem, but they said that the volume of players who use cheats has been reduced by 25%, and then the volume of like really extreme cheaters, like I would imagine, I don't know what they classify as extreme, probably either aimbot or like the speed hack.
Yeah, I
Those
could.
that,
Yeah, I could see speed hack because there's gonna be some stuff that like is just a. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they qualify as malicious extreme, but there's some stuff that they probably can't pick up as easily, like
yeah,
low level aim assistance, like
yep,
where it just pulls you towards something. It's not like um, necessarily going to get a headshot every time. It just tells you someone's there or something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the malicious ones have been reduced by 50, which obviously it's probably way easier to detect. Um, but yeah, I think that sucks.
Yeah.
I think I'm not gonna say too much about it. Obviously, I just cheating is stupid. Like, don't do it.
Yeah. Yep.
But people like to just they think it's funny and they yeah, it's whatever. Like I don't know, but it's good that they're putting an effort because if they want this to be like an esport type popular to last time because it is so competitive and like it's not like you're just playing Battlefront and you respawn. Like this is like way more competitive.
Mhm.
So like yeah, it would really suck to make it into like the top 10 or top 20 and you're actually trying and then someone's just cheating.
Yeah.
Like that's stupid.
Yep.
So but anyways, that's it for the discussion. The community update is up on their website if you want to read through it. We covered way more than it's up there though, so you're welcome. Um, as far as news, I'll just cover the new peak players for pub.
Okay.
It hit 2.86 this past Saturday on the 18th. So 2.86 million peak players. Crazy, just keeps going up. Obviously, I want to make some predictions here though.
Mhm.
I think it will hit 3 million by the end of the month.
Okay.
So there's I think there's one Saturday left. I think it's very possible that it will hit 3 million.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna have sort of a holiday weekend coming up.
Yep, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yep.
At least for United States.
Yeah, I mean that's not necessarily going to affect peak players because that's always at 10. Well, I guess if people are up at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I mean,
playing, maybe.
who knows? Maybe having if people have Thursday and Friday off or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a Thursday night or or Friday morning. You know what I mean? Like you never know. Like it all kind of contributes sometimes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's very possible that it hits 3 million before the end of this month. And because we're supposed to get the full release of PC 1.0
Mhm.
by the end of the year in December. And I
Yep.
think with that, and for here we have Christmas, and well, if you're religious or you celebrate that because you want to.
Yeah.
I think just with the holiday season and everything, I'm gonna guess that it's gonna hit 3.75 million.
3.75 million. Wow. Okay.
With the release, I think it's gonna be. I'm not gonna go 4. I think that's too much, but I think it's very
Yeah.
possible to see like 3.75.
I think I'm going to go with 3.5 before the end of December.
Okay. So all right, so those are locked in. We'll type them out and we'll have them set, and then by the end of December, we'll see what we have, and we can go back on that.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, I mean, either way, it's still going up. It's crazy. I know some people are pessimistic. They think the game will dive. I hope it doesn't. Like, I hope they continue to make changes and improve it. And I think like the cheating thing is probably the biggest threat, and that's why they're spending so much time on it.
Yeah, I
So
think they just want to get it worked out, and then um, it's put the work in now and not have to deal with it later while in full release. Because if there's still some other cheating problem pops up uh, in full release, it's going to be a big issue. People are going to it could turn into a bad PR situation.
yeah,
If they can fix it during early access, that's going to be way better for them.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Do you want to just go over the invitational this past weekend?
Yep. So, I mean, I wasn't able to watch it or at least too much of it. I am Oakland PUBG Invitational was this weekend, in addition to the CS:GO tournament. Saturday and Sunday, 8 matches over the 2 days were played. The winner, overall, was against all authority, winning a grand prize of $60,000, which I mean that's a little low. Didn't we have like a $1 million contest already for PUBG?
What? No. Oh,
No,
well, no. What was there?
or was it 100? Maybe it's 100,000. Which actually
Maybe.
this sort of lines up. Which I mean that's still pretty. I mean that's great. you
Yeah,
know.
well, because there was a total prize pool of 200,000, which we talked about last episode, I believe.
Okay.
But so first place won 60,000.
Okay. That's pretty
Um,
cool.
I mean, it is an
Um.
invitational.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Um, but so I was interested in it, so I just kind of wrote down how the scoring works for a like a competitive PUBG match.
Mhm.
Um, And so the kind of like what they're going for is kind of consistency is key to win. So there's 4 matches on Saturday and four on Sunday. And
Okay.
so at the end of the first day, TSM was in first place, but I think they ended in like fifth or something.
Okay.
And then I forget what their name is, so I apologize to listeners, but I think it was like Digital something. They ended up winning 2 out of the 8 matches, but they ended up like maybe in third, I think. So winning first place isn't like, I mean, you think like you won twice, like you should be really good to win first. It's not
Mhm.
always the case because how the scoring works is that if you one kill for your squad is 10 points. So a lot of times the squad will get like 17 kills, so it's like 170 points. And then you get points for placement. So first place you get 300, but then second place you get 225, third place 190, fourth 165, fifth 145, and then it kind of goes down from there.
Mhm.
Um, so you get points for how you place, which is important. So it's kind of like if you're finishing in the top 3 at least, that's like really good. And then like say your squad is like just good. Say like your squad is really good, but maybe you didn't win first. You can still come out on top,
Yeah.
especially because that team was the only one to win twice. All the other matches it was someone else.
Mhm.
So it kind of is like they're kind of saying like consistency is the way to win. Which I kind of like. I mean, it kind of makes it fair because it is such a like the circumstances can be so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just some interesting. If you didn't know how the scoring works, it's kind of interesting how it goes. And we were kind of busy this weekend with your party and everything. Kind of missed the games, but I watched some clips, especially like the last couple circles for a lot of the matches, and it's interesting, especially how the spectator mode works.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I mean, I think the overall consensus from this tournament compared to like Gamescom was it was like a lot better. I think they learned from Gamescom a lot, and they did a lot better with the spectating and everything. So that's good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to maybe like do a thing like maybe I don't know, have like a game watching night or something instead of a
Eh,
game playing night.
Yeah.
for the whenever the next tournament is.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep. Do you want me to go over some of the CS:GO stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to cut you short. We're running a little long, but
Yeah. Yep. No. Yeah. I'll
so
go quickly.
I mean, I don't want to cut these games short, but so
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't cover CS:GO like all
too
the
much.
time. Yeah, too much. But I like to get the patch notes out, and with all these changes, I'm pretty um psyched because I think that Valve is taking a bit more of a hands-on approach, and they're going to be putting out more regular updates. Um, which I think they learned because so the first note we have there is Operation Hydra has come to a close. They had extended it for even longer than normal, which I wish I knew because I was playing for the first couple weeks and making sure I got all my stars and beating all the missions, but I missed playing whatever the weekly game was that week, which so I knew I wasn't going to be able to like if you're able to like achieve all the things during the operation or the event, you could get like a diamond coin in game, and you could like show it off on your profile, like I, finished Operation Hydra on top.
Hmm.
But so I missed 1 week, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it. So then they extended it, but I had missed so many weeks by then that there was still no chance. But so it's come to a close. But something different they're doing this time is that custom game modes, Wingman and Flying Scoutsman, are going to be sticking around. They're just going to become part of the game you can play anytime. Wingman, which is basically the main competitive game, typically bomb defusal, but just 2 people on each team instead of 5, and typically on smaller maps. It's getting its
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's getting its own queue with its own rankings. So that's super cool if you want to duo with somebody, like maybe you don't have like 4 or 5 players that you want to play with. If you just want to duo with somebody, you'll be able to hit Global Elite, which is the top rank in Wingman. So I saw a lot of people are pretty psyched about that. Um, Flying Scoutsman is where it's basically low gravity with everyone has a scout, which is a sniper rifle, which where you get one-shot headshots, but body shots don't kill. So like the op will kill if you hit them in like the foot, typically. Even like it just kills people. But the scout is one-shot headshots. So low gravity, everybody has a scout and a knife. Um, Really fun game. It's getting put into the War Games queue, which is new. For basically, you can queue for that arms race and demolition is basically the main game mode, but you can get it's like a combination of the main game mode and arms race. If you get a kill in each round, you get a new weapon, and they get harder to get kills with. Like you start out with like an AK-47, which is super easy kill, and then you go towards through the submachine guns and pistols, and it gets harder as you go. So those three are all in one queue now. Um, we have a new competitive map pool. Consists of Mirage, Cache, Inferno, Overpass, Cobblestone, Train, Nuke, Dust 2, Canals, Office, and Agency, which is pretty interesting. Agency hadn't been in the official competitive map pool for quite a while. They brought it back for multiple operations. It's a really good map. So now it's going to be on there for the foreseeable future. One change we're noticing here is that older, less played maps are being removed, and they said they're going to be updating the map pool more frequently, um, which is neat. I mean, some people did like to queue for just maybe their favorite map, but that's not really helpful to queue times. It keeps people from getting into games. It taxes their servers. So they're just sort of saying, no, we're not going to host competitive games for those maps, which would be fine if people were still able to play those maps in like a game where they set it up. Like you have 10 friends that want to play. You want to play a 5v5 in like a community game or something. But some people are reporting like War Owl made a video that he can't. There's some maps that he can't even play on. Like he can't set up his own server to play on those maps, which is a little crazy that they're removing them from the game. Like they're typically user generated. Like they're on the workshop, you should be able to download and play with them. So we'll see what happens with that. I think they'll probably fix the issue. I don't think they're trying to make it so that people just can't play militia. Um, but we'll have to see. And then the casual map queues were divided into 4 groups. One, just Dust 2. You can queue for, I mean, as always, you can just queue for Dust 2. Defusal Group Delta, which is Mirage, Austria, Inferno, Shipped, and Cash. Diffuse Group Sigma, Cobblestone Train, Overpass, Nuke, Canals. And Hostage Group, so obviously all the other ones are defusal maps. This is a hostage map. These are hostage maps. Agency, Insertion, Office, Italy, and Assault. Um, so that's pretty much what all the gameplay updates that we had recently. We're also getting a new trust factor matchmaking system. It works with Prime. Like Prime's still going to be around at least for the foreseeable future, which is where your account's tied to a phone number. But it factors in a lot of other stuff, like how long you've been playing CS:GO, and also, I think it factors in like how much you play on that Steam account, even. Um, but they're keeping all the specific factors under wraps. One, because they said they're going to be changing all the time, because it's a system that they're working on actively. So to release a list of the factors it'd be obsolete within, a couple weeks. They said they're just updating all the time. But also, by keeping those factors sort of behind the curtains, people aren't going to know exactly what the matchmaking system's looking for. So it'll be a little harder for cheaters or um, uh, what's the word? Cheaters or Smurfs to game the system to get easy games or basically just troll people. So now, instead of just being able to buy a new phone number and get into Prime matchmaking, it's going to be looking at a lot of other factors. So I think that's a pretty good thing. I've tried it a little bit, but I still don't know exactly why we're still using Prime and Trust Factor. I think maybe we should, or it's it's the sort of thing where we don't even need to know. So they should just get rid of Prime, or at least tell us, stop showing us you can queue for Prime or Trust Factor. Like, just don't even give me the option. Just
Like make it the same. You're saying?
yeah, just sort of make the decision for us. Like,
Okay.
um, but it's nice to know that they are working on that. Like, it's an over a 5-year-old game, and they're still trying to actively update it and make sure, you know, work against cheaters. All this news is pretty reassuring. Because some people have been saying, "Oh, CS:GO is dead. CS:GO is dead." Um, yeah. So we were talking about the IEM Oakland PUBG tournament. There was a CS:GO tournament. Ninjas in Pajamas won, which was very interesting. They'd sort of been on the decline for a little while, but looks like maybe they're able to turn things around right now. Um, it'll be interesting to see what their performance is like at the E-League Major in January. So that's it for CS:GO. Want me to? I'll get into Arc.
Yeah, it's up to you. No, it's fine.
Um. Okay. Yeah. So these are mostly um upcoming changes. Gonna happen around. And I'll skim through most of this because nothing's really set in stone. There's been multiple forum posts by developers that they're sort of talking to the community and trying to figure out what the best solution is. Um, they made along with their Mysterious Mysteries and Community Crunch blog post, they made an announcement that they're going to be limiting turrets to 100 turrets within a 10k unit area, which is not just auto turrets, it includes plant turrets and tech turrets. Uh, and for reference, a 10k unit area, or like think of it like a radius or whatever, um, is about 66 foundations wide. Foundations are 150 units wide. So think of the biggest base you've ever seen, and you can only have 100 turrets on it, which is insane. Like I don't know how you're gonna protect any bases ever again.
I like that.
Um, you have to do it with dinos now. You just have to breed and tame and breed and tame.
I like that.
I You like this change?
I think it's good.
So part of the reason they said this is because they had noticed a 7 times increase in placement density since official launch. Um, up to where some servers had 15,000 turrets on them. So I mean, mostly this was Ragnarok servers that were held by um, alpha tribes. So I get, it's an interesting. They're not talking about it this way, but it's an interesting nerf to um, duping
Big
as
bit.
well, because there's no
Okay.
point to there's no point to dupe turrets because you can't use them. Um,
I think it's like good though, because now like the big bases, the big people, they won't be able to protect their precious base as easily.
yeah, I mean, it's going to take creativity. I think part of what annoys me about this, I mean, it does and it doesn't because people will have to come up with some other way. So, they'll break the game. With any game, you're always trying to break it. You find like one of the reasons that turret um, turret usage has gone up so drastically is because people figured out that stegos are actually the best dino to raid with, which is a ridiculous thought. They shouldn't be, but they just had such good armor that if you throw a decent saddle on it, a decent stego could tank 100 turrets. It could just drain them, which is ridiculous. Um, Never mind, you could be sitting there healing it with meat or well, actually, it's veggie cakes for um, a stego because it's an herbivore. Um, so, I mean, I think the real solution there is probably to nerf stegos, and they did say that they are going to be looking into that. But right now, to compensate for the change, the 100 turrets in a 10k unit area, they're going to be buffing the damage of auto turrets and tech turrets by 20%, and the storage capacity of auto and tech turrets by 50%. Um, they're expecting a performance increase of 50% to 300% on official PvP servers, which is, I mean, that'll be really great.
Yeah.
um, I just don't know how I'm gonna build build my bases anymore. Um, Also, the mounted minigun turret will now be able to target non-mounted tames, but the range will be reduced to that of an auto turret. Which I don't know why you wouldn't have been able to target non-mounted tames before, but I guess you can now. These changes are going to go live on December 5th, but as you can see in like the next section, they're talking to the community, and I would say none of this is set in stone.
Yeah.
I think this is such a huge thing that I wish it had happened before launch because, I mean, this seems like a huge change to the base game. And I think it looks weird to people that maybe waited until launch to start playing. Um, but we'll see what happens. Um, they made another forum post talking about that they're working on a new advanced auto turret that's going to cost and be more effective by 4 times more. Um, Interesting. I think we're gonna have to wait quite a while to actually see what it looks like and for it to be actually released. But um, I mean, at least that'll give people a bit more protection. Hopefully, it's not too much more expensive. Like I would happily have them increase the electronics and metal cost for it, but the polymer cost, I mean, I guess once you get farmed up, polymer's not that hard to get. But I think increasing the polymer cost by too much more, um, is going to be preventative to any mid tier tribe. Um, they're looking at reducing the either the health or stego armor plates, but they don't have any hard numbers yet. They're looking into potentially adding knockback on turrets to prevent people from just rushing bases, like just running in and placing C4 and running out. With
Right.
a knockback, you wouldn't be like just upping movement speed wouldn't actually be that as beneficial. And then they're potentially looking into adding a cooldown of veggie cakes, so you can't use them um, in battle.
Right. Mm.
Which is a good and bad thing. They said they're thinking about it hard because right now people have actually been using Therizinosaurus and veggie cakes to fight the dragon boss. So they want to look at how these things are going to these changes are going to be affecting um, not just the PvP side of things, but other aspects of gameplay.
Mm.
Also, if I remember correctly, the new advanced auto turret is going to not be placeable on boats or platforms. Um, which I mean, that's good. I wouldn't care if they got rid of turrets on boats completely. Um, I think I'd be fine with that change. But yeah, overall, interesting changes. I wanted to do it now because it's probably going to change again by next week. Um, Maybe at some point, probably when we do Aberration, we'll have a lot of these changes sort of set in stone more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully. Okay. All right. Um. Yeah. So we ran a little long there, guys, but that's okay. We ended up talking a lot about other stuff, like kind of off the cuff, just our thoughts. So that's kind of probably why we ran long as well.
Yeah.
Um. But all good stuff, talking about PUBG and Battlefront and all that. Crazy past week, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, but to kind of close out the show, or start to close out the show, we got our trivia question this week. We're just gonna ask. We want to know what your favorite Battlefront 2 class is so far. I know personally mine's the Assault. Elias likes the Specialist.
Yep.
So give us your thoughts too if you want. You can answer the question, but give us your thoughts if you think maybe a class needs some TLC, or if maybe one's too strong. Let us know. But all right, you can find us on Twitch at 8 p.m. on Mondays at Respawn Mondays, and we're on Twitter at Respawn Mondays, and also YouTube at Respawn Mondays. You can find me personally at NikkiGirl7 on Twitter, and on Twitch I am at NikkiGirl007.
Yep. And you can find me Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Tolmaith, TOLMAEITH. And trying to stream a little bit more regularly, but don't count on it.
All right. Then last thing before we go, guys, don't forget to try to leave us a review on iTunes. We would greatly appreciate it. We want to know your feedback. We know you're out there. We know we get a solid, amount of listeners every week. So leave us a review, please. Let us know what you think of the show, about us, and yeah, we'd greatly appreciate that.
Yep.
But all right, I've been Nick Berry,
I'm Elias Christensen.
and thanks for respawning with us.
We'll see you next week.